Do you know the name of even one person who has renounced their citizenship or is living abroad? Do you know basic facts? I mean, FAQs, just your basic ones about renouncing citizenship. Do you know which country's passports rated the highest? We're going to talk about those. Hey family, how are you doing? So Awaken with Mark is a channel that follows the journey of an African American family who has relocated from the United States to the continent of Africa. We actually live on the island of Zanzibar, Tanzania. We've also lived in Rwanda. And so this video or the YouTube channel actually follows our lives and what we're encountering as we move forward in the cultural exchange. And it answers the question of what happens when a family relocates to the continent of Africa. The answer is, by experience, we are winning. And we're grateful and blessed that that's occurring. Josiah sent me a second article complimenting the first video we did that had to do with renouncing citizenship. We are definitely not, I repeat, we are definitely not telling anyone to renounce their citizenship, okay? All we're doing is sharing what we encountered, replying to comments that we saw, and learning. We spend a lot of time in personal development and learning. That's what's going on. I'll tell you one thing, Black folks, we don't tend to know that we have options. And did you know that some of these folks have lived abroad and some have even renounced citizenship? I did not know that. So here are some realities. Here are people who have done it, okay? Take a look at this. Billy Joe Armstrong, Green Day lead singer. Yul Brynner, the actor, I remember him, the bald-headed dude. Eduardo Saverin, he's an entrepreneur, big-time entrepreneur, big time. Here's another one, Earl Tupper. You ever heard of Tupperware? Yeah, he sold that company. But anyway, he's an inventor. He moved out. Henry James, an author. John Huston, film director. Prince Albert II of Monaco. Betty Hutton, hope I pronounced her name right, socialite. T.S. Eliot, the poet. So those are a few of the people. Man, I tell you, it's incredible. A record number, 6,705 Americans renounced their citizenship in 2020. Did you know or did you care that these Black or Afro Americans left and many even renounced their citizenship? I did notice that quite a few in later years were for political reasons, especially when it came to the Caribbean, because I suppose some of the Caribbean islands say that you need to not show any allegiance to any other nation. Therefore, they tended to renounce their citizenship. So we'll just go through them quickly, but say a little bit more about them. How about James Baldwin? Here you have a preacher, a playwright. He moved to Paris to escape the prejudice in America, and also to be read, as he said, as a writer versus a Negro writer. You ever heard of Betty Boop? What if I said this name? Josephine Baker, musician, dancer. She fled to Europe in the 1920s to escape racism in America. She renounced her citizenship in 1937 out of disgust for America's treatment of African Americans. W.E.B. Du Bois. He was a writer, civil rights activist, sociologist, author. He moved to Ghana in 1961. The U.S. State Department refused to renew his passport for whatever reason, so he chose to naturalize as a citizen of Ghana. You might be asking, well, what's love got to do with it? Tina Turner, singer, performer, extraordinaire, right? She became a Swiss citizen in 2013 after 20 years. Dr. Angela Brown Burke, politician originally from Jamaica. She became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1995, but she moved back to Jamaica after renouncing her citizenship. Elizabeth Catlett, world-renowned sculptress, an artist, so as a sculptor. She's done some fantastic works, which you can see in the buildings in the DMV, because she's a Washingtonian, and she's also the grandchild of formerly enslaved grandparents. She became a Mexican naturalized citizen in 1946, and a lot of folks are moving to Mexico because it's still close to the United States, so you can hop that flight, get on down there, return flight. It's kind of easy transaction there. There's Dr. Patrice Charles Freeman. There's Pernell Petro Charles Jr. He's an attorney, politician, Jamaican state senator, renounced citizenship in 2016. Camilo Michael Gonzalez, journalist, diplomat, politician. He's from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He renounced his citizenship in 2013. Here's a duo for you. Robert Edwin and Sarah Lee. Their area, Medicine. He was born in South Carolina. Sarah is his wife. So this dentist and his wife, they immigrated, and both of them are dentists now, immigrated to Ghana around 1956. They happen to be the first two black dentists in the country. They also did a lot of work because they refurbished monuments commemorating the Atlantic slave trade, which you can go and visit in Ghana. Hope to see that one day. So that's just a small short list, because after that last video we did, I was like, well, let's look more into that. And we had seen a little bit, but Josiah nudged me and I said, well, yeah, I'm gonna take more of a look at it. So you may be tired of racism. You may be upset regarding taxes. You may be looking for free visa access to more countries. I don't know what your reason is. But you want to know your why, which leads to why you will or why you won't renounce your citizenship. But as I said earlier, we are definitely not telling anyone to do that, to renounce their citizenship. We're just in learn mode here. Here's part 2. Some frequently asked questions, tidbits. We ask you to verify these through a legal expert and a tax expert, as a matter of fact. Speaking of a tax expert, if you'll want to operate through our CPA, who is a childhood friend of mine, certified public accountant, just send me an email at AwakenWithMark@gmail.com. That's AwakenWithMark@gmail.com, and you can receive the contact information to see if there's a fit there. Okay, in terms of renouncing U.S. citizenship, just a few did you knows or did you care. How long can a U.S. citizen stay out of the country? Actually, as long as you would like, and that's from Boundless. Why do people tend to renounce? Because they find the tax compliance and disclosure laws an inconvenience, onerous, and even unfair. And that's research done by Investopedia. How many U.S. citizens renounce their citizenship each year? I'm going to wait a little bit in case you want to take a guess. Okay, here's the answer to the question. 10,000 people renounced their U.S. citizenship in 2020 alone. A decade ago, it was fewer than, I'll pause, insert however many you thought it was, just to have fun, and you can take a guess. A decade ago, it was fewer than 1,000 per year. That's according to U.S. News. All right, does the U.S. allow dual citizenship? U.S. law does not even mention dual nationality or require a person to choose one citizenship or another. All right, one thing about renouncing one's citizenship, you are no longer subject to U.S. tax on your worldwide income. So, elimination of a double taxation is what takes place. And that's from Berardi immigration law. Actually, I'm experiencing that. So yes, we pay all taxes. We do pay taxes, all right? You will need to appropriate a visa for travel and staying in the U.S. after you would renounce, because you're no longer a U.S. citizen. So you got to have a visa. You got to have some kind of walking papers. And that's by U.S. taxes for expats. What to do if you're renouncing? First thing, at least, I'm not going to give you a long laundry list here. First, fully catch up with all your taxes. We got that from 1040 Abroad. Think about that. With regard to renouncing citizenship, the emphasis, the focus is always on the money. Or you notice that reoccurring thing? The taxes. Lastly, what do you lose when you renounce? Well, you may be rendered stateless, and thus you lack the protection of any government, and that's from the U.S. Embassy. Okay? So there's a few did you knows or did you cares, some facts, some tidbits. Lastly, number 3, most valuable passports list by Nomad Capitalists. So what they did was they rate things based on international perceptions of the traveler's nationality, restrictions on obtaining a dual citizenship, and the number of countries the traveler can enter without a visa. So those are 3 high marking things that raise the status of a passport. So U.S. passport, you can visit up to 187, that's 187 countries visa free. And you can go Google and find out that list. Now, the countries with the best passports, like I said, they allow dual citizenship. They allow visa-free travel. Their annual international departures tended to be high. Their GDP tended to be very high, and it's also based on their population. And so we've got the lists coming up on the screens for you, including Luxembourg, Sweden, Switzerland, Portugal. Oh, that's a big one. Because it's really financially lucrative to live there. Singapore also, Netherlands, Malta, South Korea, Germany, Iceland, France, New Zealand, Canada, Slovakia, Liechtenstein, Spain. So there you go. There's the list. And we just did this as a follow-up video to provide you with a little bit more of a continuation. We're hoping that if you found this information helpful, maybe eye-opening, maybe something you didn't know, that you would hit the like, definitely share this with your neighbors and friends, and subscribe.